Today we have Jojo LaRiccia as our guest.
I was very moody growing up. When I was moody, I didn't make money. When I was happy, I made money. And I went, wow, this is interesting. It's almost like bad energy repels people. Good energy brings people towards you.
If you're living in the moment, you're not worried about the past or worried about the future. You just have to keep moving forward.
I'm 16 years old and I just got my permit. And my great-grandfather brought the balloon mold over from Italy. He invented the rubber balloon in 1896. Every human has something special. Yours may be more noticeable.
People are stuck in the past or worried about the future, and they're not here in the moment like you and I have. And I think that's the only thing that's got me this far, because I've never felt like a victim. Hi, welcome to the Anomaly Factor. You're not swimming in the wrong direction, you have the Anomaly Factor. And today we have Jojo LaRiccia as our guest, and I absolutely love her. We have not known each other for very long, but I'm very excited about the conversation we're about to have. Welcome, Jojo.
Janet Hamilton, thank you so much for asking me to be here on the Anomaly Factor. Very exciting. You are a rare factor on the planet. So I look forward to diving into this conversation.
Welcome. So tell us your story, what you do. I know you have a very extensive background in your field. Why don't you tell our audience about it?
Well, I am known as the super connector and the video strategist, but what I do is not as important as who I am. And a lot of people walk through life and they're miserable. They're not happy. And I don't understand it because there's so much joy around us, so many miracles, yet people are getting swallowed up, mainly by the media. I don't watch the news. I read the news, and that allows me to stay positive. When I stay positive, I'm able to serve others. And let's face it, how many years do we have on the planet, right? So we want to be the very best that we can be. And one of the ways that I am a servant leader to the world is I'm called the super connector. And Janet, I will tell you, I have an obsession. And my obsession is making introductions to people. I make 50 to 100 intros per weekday, not in the weekends. I take the weekends off. You're an exception, by the way, doing this podcast. You asked me, do you want to do a podcast? And I said, yeah, let's do it today because I'm not connecting people. And so being positive allows me to give back to the world.
I told you just a few minutes before we started the podcast, I absolutely love you because you exude joy.
Thank you.
That's what you're all about. Your coloring, the way you speak, your presence, it's palpable. And I think that's why we get along, because I too am a connector. I just had no clue till fairly recently. So tell us about your 60 years of experience in multimedia and marketing.
Sure. I'm going to go back, I've always been intrigued with the arts as a very young child. I remember asking my dad for a piano, which is really a piano. And we never got a piano, but my dad bought us an M&E organ. I don't know if you remember that. This is a long time ago. So we're talking like 1959. And my brother Sal, who's my older brother, I'm the youngest of four, two older brothers and older sister, really picked up and was able to play on this organ. He just listened to music and he was able to play by ear. So everything my brother Sal did, I wanted to copy. This is how everything began with me, okay? So I'm going to jump ahead a few years. My oldest brother, Joe, wanted to be a priest. And he was 16 years old and he went into the seminary. And my father bought a camera for my brother Sal and told him to document everything about my brother's journey to become a priest. And my brother Sal started taking photographs, and I got to tell you, the photographs were unbelievable. He had a Minolta camera. Then they weren't DSLRs, which stands for digital single lens reflex. They were SLR, because single lens reflex, because digital wasn't around. And my brother was producing great photographs. What does this have to do with me? At around the age of 11, I belonged to the local teen center. I was one of the youngest people at the teen center. And I asked the instructor, I said, I need to learn photography, because my brother Sal wasn't going to teach me. So I was like on my own, fending for myself. And this gentleman who was leading the teen center said, well, the only place that I know where there's a photography class is my roommate, who he was a student at MIT also teaching a photography class. And he said, that's the only place I know. I could tell you where it is, but it's unlikely you're going to be able to take this class. So I go over there with my friend Petey, who I'm still friends with, and we took our bikes to MIT, which is less than 2 miles away, knocked on the door. The guy's name was Jeremy. I said, Jeremy, we heard there was a photography class, and we want to take it. And Jeremy said, you can't take this class. You're kids. You're not MIT students. You didn't pay tuition to be here. And I looked at him and I said, do you think we rode our bikes here 2 miles to hear you say no? I don't think so. We need to take this class. He kind of caved in, and we were allowed in the class. I mean, this is 1965. Crazy. I don't think that would happen now. And we took the whole course. I convinced my parents that I should build a darkroom in the basement. I bought my first SLR camera, a Yashica, and I just went crazy. I started taking photographs of everything. But the moral of this story is, if you ask somebody for something, you're either going to get 2 results. They're either going to say yes or they're going to say no. If they say no, that means maybe it could be yes for tomorrow. But if they say yes, you're all in. So I've learned throughout my whole life, ask people questions. You have nothing to lose. A lot of people are afraid to ask questions. And that was the beginning of my journey in the media profession, like in a big way. So eventually it went from photography, and I'll share a funny story with you. I bought a very tiny cassette recorder. I don't know if they were called cassette recorders, but they were like the small reel-to-reel. And my parents were having a silly argument about toilet paper. I hid around the corner and I taped them. When they finished, I went back into the kitchen, put the recorder on play, and they listened to themselves and they were laughing. They thought it was fabulous. And I went, wow, people love when you take their pictures. They love the sound of their voice. What's the next transition? Video. Here I am. How many years later? I mean, we're talking, I don't know, we're in the 60s now. And now I'm understanding that I want to get into video. Eventually I got into video. And I'm going to jump forward because there's a lot of things that happened in between. But COVID happened. So I just jumped like 50 plus years later. And because I did not get the vaccination shot, because I didn't understand enough about it, and I didn't want to be a guinea pig. I just didn't. So I never got the vaccination shot. As a result, I could not be at my local TV station. I was not allowed in the station, even though I was the biggest producer there. Even though we won multiple awards because of my presence there, and we were one of the top 3 local access stations in the country. Over 700 stations. This was like a big deal. And I said, I can't believe they'll let me go because I wouldn't get the vaccine shot. So I had to be creative and come up with a new way of doing things. So I had to learn how to create videos through the computer in 4K cinema style. Nobody was doing this. But And there's so many layers to this. So I'm going to stop for a second because I know you have questions.
No, I think my mind's going crazy. I keep thinking that's why I love you, because of the power of persuasion and presence that you give. Like, it's just who you are. And you've always been ahead of the game by the sounds of it. Like, you knew what you wanted right from the get-go, and you didn't settle for less. You went after your dreams.
No, I didn't. And I'm going to share another story with you because this is really a great story. I'm 16 years old and I just got my permit. And my great grandfather brought the balloon mold over from Italy. He invented the rubber balloon here in Boston in 1896. His name was Francesco LaRiccia. Now, this is kind of a sad story, but Francesco had a friend. His name was Neil Tittleston, and he went to Neil Tittleston. Neil Tittleston, I believe he had some kind of factory. He asked Neil Tittleston to help him to distribute the rubber balloon. But Neil Tittleston did something that was a little bit unethical. He stole the idea and patented the latex balloon. Neil Tittleston was the next.
Feel?
I don't know. I don't know. It was my great grandfather. I never got a chance to talk to him, but I'm sure he felt very betrayed. But anyway, what does this have to do with me? So growing up, my dad was a vendor. He had a side hustle. He was a carpenter by trade, but on the weekends he would sell his balloons and novelties at parades and that sort of thing. And I would go to the parades with him, and he would say to me, he would give me a basket of like horns, little blow horns, that they would use for the drum and bugle corps that would be in the parade, and little trinkets with a whole bunch of balloons. I'm a kid. I'm in single digits. And he would give me a basket with balloons, and he said, just go out there and just sell. I said, but Daddy, he said to me, you cannot say no. He would not take no for an answer. So I would go out with the basket and the balloons and walk the parade route. And I would sell everything, come back, he'd give me another basket, another bunch of balloons, and I would go out. And I went, wow, this is incredible. I would just have to carry a basket and balloons, and people would stop me and buy from me. So now I'm 16 years old, and I said to my dad, Daddy, why is it that when I work with you at the parades, you pay me $2 a day, but you pay my brothers, Joey and Salvi, $15 to $25? Why are they getting paid more money? He said to me, because they're men. I said, are you kidding me? I said, what do I need to do to get paid like a man? He says, well, if you want to get paid like a man, you have to work like a man. I said, bring it on. What do I need to do? He said to me, tomorrow, I want you to go out alone and work in front of the New England Aquarium. Now, the New England Aquarium is a big museum in Boston. And they had just opened up. They were open for 2 years. And in Boston, there was cobblestone streets and everything was still, run down on Boston's waterfront. And I heard my mother in the background, Victor, she's just a little girl. What are you doing? I knew in that moment, it was a pivotal moment in my life. I felt it in my bones. If I didn't go, it would have changed the trajectory course of my whole life. And this is where it becomes interesting. So I go out there. I don't think I should have been driving alone because I only had my permit. I didn't have my license yet. And I go out there alone. And I'm kind of embarrassed because I'm on a street corner. I'm a kid. I have a few balloons in the air, trinkets. And my shoulders were like this, and I was looking down. And I learned within a couple of hours, if your shoulders are down and your head is down, you're not going to make any money. So as soon as I threw my shoulders back and just was in the moment, I started making money. I went, wow, this is interesting. Your body language indicates how much money you make. I'm 16 years old. This is like life, 24 hours, 2 life lessons. If you're challenged, dive in, body language, hold your shoulders back. So I started to study everything. I started to study the way people talk, the way I respond, the questions to ask, how you get people to buy from you. I'm very young. I'm studying colors, the way things are positioned. Oh yeah, my brain just went into like dissecting everything. I started to watch patterns when people would come, when they would go, when they were coming from the right, from the left, and how I would react to people. My moods. I was very moody growing up. When I was moody, I didn't make money. When I was happy, I made money. And I went, wow, this is interesting. It's almost like bad energy repels people. Good energy brings people towards you.
Yeah. I'm just learning energy myself. I had absolutely no clue, but you're bang on. I think because I've been so open my entire life, it's the same way, right? I've, like you, have been an observer my entire life. I'm fascinated by people. I love to watch them. You can learn so much. So you've had it in you right from the get-go.
Right from the get-go. So now I'm going to jump to 1976. I am 21 years old, and I have this dream, and the dream came through that music is the way. Music is the way. And I was told to go to Berklee College of Music. So I wake up the next day and I tell my parents, I'm going to Berklee College of Music. And they said to me, what are you talking about? It's like, you have a great job. And I just said, no, I have to go to Berklee College of Music. So I have an audition, and I flunked the audition. I couldn't play the piano. I was so nervous I couldn't play the piano. And the guy's name was Paul Schmeling, and he said to me, you're awful. And I said, I know. I was so nervous I couldn't play the piano. So he said to me, well, this is your lucky day. And I said, I just flunked the audition. He said, yes, but we have a shortage of women at Berklee, and we need more women. Now, when I went there in 1976, there were over 2,700 men and 77 women. So I basically went to an all-man's college, and I had to be a lady, big time. And that was the time where free love, sex, drugs, rock and roll. Thank God I lived at home with my parents. That's all I can tell you, because my parents were strict. And I got into the college. It was what a wonderful, wonderful experience. But I also had to leave the college because my dad died. And before my dad died, he was very healthy. I remember him saying to me, he's 60 years old, and he was tapping his fingers on the kitchen table, and he says, honey, I want you to make me a promise. When I die, you'll take over my business, which was his business at the aquarium, because I was working there part-time. And I said, but Daddy. And he says, honey, promise me. I said, Daddy, my music. I'm doing really well with my music. I have all these jobs. He said, promise me, you're the one. He dies. He dies like overnight. Massive heart attack. And I went, oh my God, what am I going to do? Music is my dream. But I made a promise to my dad, and my word is my honor. If I say I'm going to do something, I have to honor it. There's no way around it. That's just the way it was. So I left Berklee College of Music. I never got my degree.
Did you learn how to play the piano?
I learned how to play the guitar.
Okay, that's good.
and my instrument was my voice. I'm a singer. As a matter of fact, this was 1986 when I was on MTV Basement Tapes.
That looks familiar to me too. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's
Style
familiar.
of hair for the era as well.
Oh my God, my hair was like big hair. But I honored my dad, and I did very well in front of the aquarium. I was the first female to sell T-shirts on the streets of New England. Fruit of the Loom told me in the United States, but I'll say New England, because I don't know about the rest of the United States. On the streets of New England, I was told by a gentleman, he said, you were the first female. I was the first male to sell T-shirts at a sports event. But he said, you're the first female. You could definitely, he was in radio. He said, you can definitely say that with certainty. So I'll share the story about T-shirts because this is another great story. I go to a Yes concert. I don't know if you've ever heard of the band Yes.
Yes.
At the at the Boston Gardens. Now it's called North Gardens, which is also very close to where I live in Boston. I'm only a half a mile from Boston. I was born in Boston. So I go to this concert, and it's a Yes concert. And I go home, and I said to my father, Daddy, I saw the most unusual thing at this concert. They had T-shirts with the name Yes on their T-shirts. And I said to him, I think that we should incorporate this into the tall ships that are coming to Boston. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard of the tall ships, but they have these massive, beautiful ships. It's a tall ship parade. It's extraordinary. Tall ships from all around the world, and millions of people congregate. And we had the first tall ships that came to Boston, but they also visited New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island. So they made the tour, but it was the bicentennial of Boston. And I said to my father, Daddy, we should get T-shirts with the name, with a ship on it and the date of Boston. Now, there were no T-shirt vendors. There were no T-shirt silk printers. There were no places to buy T-shirts like people buy them today. Men wore T-shirts it was underwear. They wore T-shirts underneath their dress shirts to absorb perspiration. So when a man bought a T-shirt, he would have to go into a department store and he would buy 1 or 2 T-shirts or rip it out of the cellophane package and wear it underneath his dress shirt to preserve his dress shirt from getting soil from his armpit perspiration. So I said, Daddy, we should do these T-shirts. And my father said, that is disgraceful. And I said, why? He said, because it's underwear. And he says, and furthermore, I wouldn't know where to go. Now, my dad also, in addition to his side hustle working at the parades, he had a group of men where he sold at the football games. Banners, shakers, blast horns. And I said, Daddy, I think that if I go to one of these places that can print the logo on a banner, they should be able to print on a T-shirt. So we're in Massachusetts, and my father said, I will not invest in this at all. If you want to do it, great, you could use your own money, but I'm not doing this. I said, okay, I want to do it because I had that hunch. And this is where everything in my life, I get that knowingness. And you know what I'm talking about, Janet. You know when something's right, you go all in. And I'm kind of like ahead of the curve for many things in my life. And I'm just going to tell you, I just am. So my father comes with me. We go to a place called Keezer's in New Hampshire. And we walk in and I ask the gentleman there, can you print on a T-shirt? He says, I've never seen it. I don't know if it can be done. I don't know if we could do it, but we can experiment and try. But you're going to have to pay for the screen print and you're going to have to pay for this experiment. I said, I'm all in because I just felt it. I knew. Mm-hmm. And he did a few shirts. They looked on a press that printed the banners, the flags that people would wave at the football games. I got 500 shirts. I had to rip them out of the cellophane packages, bring them up to him. He did 500 shirts. My total cost was $2.50. This is back in 1976. I sold out 500 T-shirts in less than 24 hours. I got to keep all the profits, okay? My dad could not believe it. And this all happened at a Yes concert. Think about the word yes. Everything's with yes. Maybe that's the name of this podcast should be yes. Because people are either going to say yes or they're going to say no. And I had more successes with my dad from being at the souvenir stand. And that's why he asked me to take over his business when he died. because I knew what would sell and what wouldn't. Now, I had some failures, okay? Not everything is a success. If somebody tells you they have 100% success, they're lying. You have to have failures to move forward. You just do. That's life.
Yeah, progress over perfection.
Right. So, and I'm glad that I listened to my hunches.
What do you think made you so resilient and tenacious?
I'm the youngest of four. It was very,
You had to fight your way through?
I'm very competitive. Yeah, I had two older brothers. I was always like, I'm still competing with my brothers to this day. Nothing has changed. I don't know. I'm just I have a competitive spirit.
So you would attribute this to your anomaly? Like this would be your anomaly factor?
This is my anomaly factor, yes.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm very similar. I think if, at least for myself, if I didn't live in the moment, which is what I believe I've done, I don't think I would have been here. You don't know what you don't know till you know it. So if you're living in the moment, you're not worried about the past or worried about the future. You just have to keep moving forward.
That's right.
That's the way I've lived my whole life. Thank God. Because after learning what I've learned, it's like reality is very different for everybody, isn't it?
Well, growing up, I was always told certain things by teachers. When I was in the third grade, Miss Diggs, and it was very unusual. And I love all races, by the way. I love everybody. I don't care if you're white, black, Indian, Greek. Doesn't matter.
We're all connected.
We're all in the same sandbox. And I had a black teacher, Miss Diggs. She was fantastic. And I used to say, Miss Diggs, I dig you. And she loved that. And she said to me, I remember her saying to me, you're very different. You're very different, but it's a good thing.
Did you get told you were too much?
Oh, all the time. And I got fired at every job and hired back the next day.
Why?
Every job I got fired. Well, the first job that I had was at McGraw Hill and Dodge. They were a publishing company. My first job that was not with my dad, selling t-shirts and that sort of thing. And because I would be a collator, you would press your foot on a pedal, swipe across this all these pages that would just print it, and I would get ink on my white shirt. I went to a Catholic high school, and I was always replacing my clothes because of the ink. My shirt, my skirt, and I said, this is getting expensive. So one day I decided to walk in, and I had pants on. I got fired because I wore pants.
Because you were a lady.
Right. But I was the fastest worker. They fired me because I had pants. Can you imagine getting fired?
Not at all. And then they hired you back the next day. Why?
Because I was the fastest worker. They not only hired me, I was getting paid $1.65 an hour. Yeah, no, $1.85, and they raised me to $2. They fired me, hired me back with a raise.
Were you allowed to wear pants?
They changed the law of the whole company. Everyone could wear pants. And I remember everyone just was like, just elated. Oh, yeah.
You've been blazing trails your whole life.
All my life. Oh, yeah. This is big time. I just got fired from every job. I got fired from when I was working at, well, I shouldn't say I got fired, but they were very disappointed. Arthur D. Little, which was the biggest consulting firm in the world, in Cambridge. Have you ever heard the expression with the Smithsonian Institute? They made a silk purse out of a sow's ear. Mm-hmm. That was from Arthur D. Little. I worked in the accounting department, and I was told not to bother my boss, Bob Porter, when he was in a meeting with General Gavin. He was like the CEO of Arthur D. Little. But I decided to call him on the phone in the middle of this meeting. He was so mad. He said to me, I want to fire you on the spot because you did exactly what I told you not to do. And I was giggling. I just thought it was funny. because I love to test the waters. I love to see how far can I go before something just gives. I've always been like that. I had a job at the Marriott Hotel on Long Wharf. It's called the Marriott at Long Wharf. And I remember that they were building and they were pounding these big pillars in the street. And I remember going to the gentleman, his name was Francis Young, and he was in charge of the food and beverage. And I said, Francis, I would love to be the person that opens up this hotel and sing here. And I gave him a demo tape, and he never contacted me back. He had already listened to 72 bands, and so the hotel was going to open up like in a month. And I said to him, well, have you made a decision? You're opening up in a month. He says, I have not. I said, listen, I'm going to pick you up. I didn't ask him. I just said, I'm going to pick you up tomorrow at this time, and I'm going to take you to my recording studio, because I built a very high-end recording studio. Very high-end. My band's going to be there, and we're going to perform for you. And then you let me know if you want to hire us. I pick him up. He was 15 minutes late, and I looked at him. I said, you are 15 minutes late. I said, this is not good. And he was kind of surprised that I even said that to him. But if you're going to show up, be on time. So bring him to my studio. He listens to the band, and he comes out of the recording booth and he says, you've got the job. We attracted so many people. This is 1986. 1986, that there was a line outside the door, and this they were making, and I know this because he told me, $8,000 to $12,000 per night at the bar. But they fired me because we were loud and we were keeping the people in the hotel up. So he fired me and he hired somebody else. The profits went down to $4,000 per night. They hired me back.
That's bookloads, yeah.
It's a big difference, right? I'm going to tell you, there's like all these like firsts. All these
Did you charge more the second time around?
No, I didn't. But he told me we had to lower the volume, and we did, but it wasn't the same. But they still made a lot of money with us. And yeah, there's all these, those were the 3 jobs that were compromised. And then I said, I was fired from a volunteer position too. That's another story, which I'm not going to get into. But then they felt bad because they found out I was blamed for something that I didn't do. But it's all part of life. I said, I'm being fired as a volunteer? That is crazy.
I'm starting to understand that there's a certain rooms that accept us and certain rooms that don't. And I don't have a problem being in the wrong room or the right room.
Yeah.
Because I know I am too much for most people, and I think you are too. But that's why you've been successful. You're very resilient.
Yeah, I am not everybody's cup of tea. I am not everybody's cup of Jojo.
That's why I've called my business the Anomaly Factor. I don't think I've ever fit in a box. I've always been on the outside looking in.
So Janet, I want to turn the tables a little bit. Tell us a little bit about you, because you're an intuitive, and you asked me to be on this show because you are intuitive. But tell us a little bit, when did you discover that that you have this great intuition power?
Well, it's kind of both end for me, as always. I've always known I was different, that I was meant for more. I could see things, sense things, feel things, know things that other people couldn't see. And I've only recently started to figure out myself that I grew up with absolutely no understanding of boundaries. So I've been able to see this world and something else, but I didn't understand this world. And like, oh my God, now I'm starting to connect the dots in hindsight. Like Steve Jobs says, it all makes sense when you can connect the dots backwards. And it all happened for me in the first year of life. And I think those are gifts of trauma that I just didn't understand till recently. And now I'm starting to get it. And I took it as a negative, a deficit, because I was one and they were many. And now I'm starting to understand that these are gifts. And I just don't like saying that because it makes me feel superior, and I'm not. Because, like you said, we're all connected. We just don't remember who we were or why we are the way we are now. So I had 60 years. I've been telling everybody that I'm this large Spanish onion with many, many layers. I actually healed my ancestral trauma before I connected to myself. And it was like part of my process. And it's like, I kept sitting here going, well, that was easy, but it wasn't. And I'm able to hold the pain and the suffering for a lot of people because I resonate with most. I think that's what it is. I lived a very adult life in the first year of life, if that makes any sense.
Can
Without
you,
getting into details, yes.
do you want to get into details? Do you want to share a story? Because I'm here because of you. And I think people need to understand who you are to understand why I'm here and all the people that you invite. Because you have an extraordinary gift. And when we as humans have extraordinary gifts, we have a responsibility to share it with the world. And we all have something special to share.
Exactly.
Every human has something special. Yours may be more noticeable because it's just there. And some people have gifts that aren't so noticeable, but everyone has their gifts. So can you share with us a little bit about the special gift that you have? Tell us a story, like the humble beginnings. You said in the first year. Now, I know people don't remember things in their first year, and I don't know if you did, but when was your first awakening that you had?
I think I've been having them my entire life, and I just was not aware of them till recently. My mother told me a few things about what happened to me at 6 months of age, and you're right. We don't remember what happened before the age of 3 because our minds just aren't capable of encoding memory until 3. And Dr. Bessel van der Kolk says that the body keeps the score, and it definitely does. I think I've resonated with everybody else's pain and suffering, but I did not know I had any in my own body because it was all pre-verbal. And I did remember, and it blew me away. So cognitively, I knew because my mom had told me, but I could not fathom or think or believe that things were plausible. And I think it was December 21st, 2024. I was doing a dyad with a classmate, and I normally look to the left. I don't respond very quickly, I think. I overthink. I'm over analytical. So I normally look to the left to ponder and think before I respond. But for whatever reason, I went to the right, and I went, what was that? Was that a picture? Was that what they call a flashback? I was shocked, and it just solidified. So I did remember. And I don't know how, but I did. And it's all about, and this is what I teach my clients, it's all about feeling, then dealing and healing in order to connect with who you were meant to be, which is your authenticity. And we all have forgotten with life's experiences. So the pre-verbal stuff is what I'm really good at holding space for other people, because we do remember, and it's all energy. And if anyone had asked me if I was connected, I would have went, yeah, look, my head's on my shoulders. I'm connected. And I'm angry now because this was never taught to me. My parents both grew up without fathers from the age of 3, so they didn't have the emotional attunement to give me. And it wasn't that they didn't know any better or didn't choose. They just didn't know. And it's been in our generations for at least 6, I figured out. So I ended up in the end of their life giving them everything that they never got. And something inside me knew that they deserved more. And I gave it to them in the end of life. I treated them better than probably they treated themselves because they just didn't have the awareness. So I'm like you. I'm that cycle breaker. I'm the trailblazer that is doing the work. I'm curious about psychology, the body, the mind. Little did I realize it was my soul that was literally coming up and out of me to save me. And I resonate with most people because of those experiences, I think. So I've been telling people I've operated on a different frequency. My frequency doesn't The language is not words. I sense, feel, know, hear things very sharply compared to other people. And that's what separates me from the rest. So before you speak, I usually know what you're going to say.
Wow.
And I don't like saying that because I don't know what I do. I really don't. It just happens. I feel like a radar, like a human radar. So I detect inauthenticity like no tomorrow. And when I'm around people that are not authentic, I don't feel safe. So I stay here in the bush, an hour away from most people. I love them. I get energized by them, but I get depleted very quickly.
Sure.
And since I burnt out, I have to really be careful about that now.
Yeah.
Because when I get feeling better, I get energetic, and then I get tired a lot quicker now. So I just focus on what I love, and that's doing this, connecting
And
with beautiful people like you that are doing the work to make the world a better place.
so, what are you doing right now in your journey? Because you said you're angry, but I don't feel anger from you.
No, I've never been in touch with anger. For me, anger is a motivating factor for me to change injustices. And I'm mad that this stuff is known and it's not being taught in medical school. And it's the be all and end all to health, longevity, happiness, joy. People are stuck in the past or worried about the future, and they're not here in the moment like you and I have. And I think that's the only thing that's got me this far, because I've never felt like a victim. I've had a great life. I love life. I love people. I mean, why wouldn't we? We only have one trip around this earth.
But the question is, what? I know you're doing your podcast, which is great, but what do you want to do right now in your life to lift people up professionally?
I want to release the suffering and pain that people are carrying in them and aren't even aware of. And it comes out in all of the limiting beliefs, the self-defense mechanisms. They self-sabotage themselves. They don't know why. And that's what I do, is I help them connect those dots, those parts of themselves that they've lost along the way. And I'm able to hold space for them. They feel safe with me to share. And if we don't have peace in here, there's no way we're going to have peace in the world.
Are you doing this through sessions that you have with them where you talk to them? Are you doing something through energy healing? What is your modality to work with people?
Yeah, it's all of the above. It's an approach that I was taught by Dr. Gabor Mate, the compassionate inquiry approach. I've been following this man for 20 years going, why does he simply just get it? And I got halfway through the course and I went, oh, he doesn't get it. He gets me. Because everything that happened to him, and more importantly, the stuff that did not happen for us, literally changes you structurally, developmentally. And that's why I've been following him. That's how strong this energy is. There is a place for high energy and low energy. And now that I'm starting to understand myself, and I by no means have completely, I want to help others release that same suffering because I resonate with them. And everything is on the other side. Everything. Your leadership, your creativity, your happiness, your joy, your health, your connections are deeper. Yeah, I'm angry that I spent 60 years, well, 61 now. I turned 61 last month.
Happy
And
birthday.
thank you. And I feel like a 1-year-old because I'm doing life differently on my terms, more connected, more protected, amongst like-minded people for the first time in my life.
This is beautiful. This is
Yeah.
so this is fantastic. It's never so what you're telling people, it's never too late to get connected and to heal yourself. Ever. It doesn't matter if you're 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, but take the time to meet someone like you and you can help to guide them on this maze. And you do this through speaking and healing. And you know what? It's helping me to understand you more by being here. So thank you for
Yeah,
that.
I'm just starting to understand myself. So if I don't, like, I don't have words literally for a lot of things because everything was pre-verbal. And I didn't even know how to ask for help because I didn't know I needed it. And I've been very independent my whole life. I've been the one doing for everyone. And to ask for help was very foreign for me because I gave up asking many, many years ago. And I am capable, I know that, but it's nice to do it collaboratively with other like-minded people. Because most people do feel alone. Most people feel different. And they are, and they should be. And it's okay to be. And that's what I've learned is the anomaly is in each of us. And it shouldn't be a negative. It's a positive. It's just we have to remember who we were. And that is walking in your purpose and passion now. You're doing
Right.
it, I'm doing it. And hopefully we can bring others along with us. But I'm learning that you can only attract the people that are willing to do the work. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So people have to come to that realization on their own, where I believe this is what I was doing before having boundaries, is everybody would come to me for help, complete strangers. And I give it to them and then they'd hate me at the same time.
What?
And it,
Why would they? Because you're telling them the truth.
yes, and they weren't ready to hear it. So that's the part that I've learned in my training more than anything is where people begin and end and where I begin and end, and that I'm only supposed to hold the space for them to figure it out themselves, that I'm not supposed to tell them, which was what I was doing. And they weren't ready to hear it. And then I got blamed for it. And then I got shut down and rejected and everything. And I know now that it's not me. But I used to think I was the crazy one. But it's because I operate on this other frequency that's pre-verbal. The language I speak is not with words. It's a frequency. It's just automatic. I don't react, but my whole body will put alerts up, and I just know not to go in certain areas. And it's a form of self-protection, I believe, because trust has never been something I've been great at. I've only trusted myself because that's all I could trust. When you've been soul and self-led without the emotional guidance, it just becomes who you are. And I think that's why I have been so grounded and present, and yet also somewhat dysregulated soon, because I was taking on everybody else's emotions and feeling them and not having the words or the discernment to know where you began and I ended. It's just, I knew we were all one and I was affected by everybody.
But detachment is one of the biggest things that you can do
I've never
because
been attached. That's the thing.
but if you,
Because
yeah, you don't want to feel it's I'm not saying that you shouldn't feel the pain of other people, but if you are in the position that you're in right now to help people, to feel their pain is not is or maybe I should say not to feel their pain, but to hold on to their pain is not a good thing for you, because you don't need to take on their karma. They have to work out their own karma. But I want to share something with you. My singing and acting coach, whenever I entered her apartment for our session, she would begin and end, and in the middle, she would always say to me, "The truth is love." I used to say to myself, what does that mean? The truth is love. She constantly said that. The truth is love. So now that I interpret that, when we are being true to ourselves, true to others, it is the highest form of respect and love that we can give ourselves and others. The
and
truth,
vulnerability.
yeah, the
I
truth is
agree on
love. The truth is love.
I agree 100%. And not everybody's capable of hearing the truth. And that is where I'm different is I like constructive criticism because that's the only way I know how to grow. I didn't have the direction otherwise, right? So I'm only recently starting to understand that I didn't have the mirroring, and it's been a very difficult thing even for my training and to speak, to flip things around because I can only speak from my own experiences, but to turn it around and make it about other people has been difficult for me because I think it has something to do with the mirroring. It's I'm still struggling on it, and I'm understanding it more and more because I am being reflected back now who I am, but it was very difficult for me to own the good qualities. I was very happy to own the negative ones. And it's just, I never didn't love myself. I just didn't know I had to give myself compassion, love, care. I gave it to everybody else because I thought they were supposed to give it in return. It doesn't happen that way.
No,
You have to make your own happiness. You have to
that's
make your
right.
own love. And you cannot pour from an empty cup, which is why I ended up burning out. You
Right.
were smart. There was something in you that, right from a very young age, just knew what you wanted and you went after it. You didn't do it the hard way. You did it the easy way.
Now
And
there
I
were
didn't. Yeah.
lots of roadblocks. There was lots of roadblocks. There was lots of crying, restless nights, anxiety. I realized after I took the Dale Carnegie course, nobody wants to listen to a person who criticizes, condemns, or complains. Nobody wants to be around people like that. It's
It's
just that
negative.
simple. Yeah.
It's very poor negative energy.
Yeah. And I used to wake up and I used to go blah, 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 blah. And I said, nobody wants to listen to me. And I made a conscious choice that every day in my life, I choose to be happy. I choose to be positive. I choose to give back. I choose to love. I choose to find the beautiful things in people. I choose these things because these are things that are not only going to elevate me, it's going to elevate all the people that I come in contact with. And energetically, it's going to uplift the planet.
That's what a leader does.
Thank you.
Honestly, because the people that don't know yet, that are not conscious, that are not in co-regulation with the rest of us that have left the matrix, that is what we have to do, is lead the way. And it's only by doing and being who we are that we can, because you can't push or teach somebody to be somewhere where they're not ready to be yet. And that's what I was doing, because I care so much that I'm affected by everybody's pain. And even though I have boundaries now, and I get emotional just talking about it, even though I have boundaries now, it's hard to walk away from people that are in pain when you want to show them the other way.
It's okay to say no sometimes. Even though I love the word yes, it's okay to say no.
Yes, and like you said earlier, I think when you got fired, it didn't stop you. It made you more resilient.
Yeah, it's
And
like,
yeah,
absolutely.
like rejection to me is redirection. If you're not meant to be here, then don't waste your time. Just
Right.
move on and find the right place, the right room, the right people. Because you said it earlier, I've always had this responsibility because of being emotionally neglected. I was parentified. So I was very responsible right from the get-go. But the weight of it has changed for me. So the heaviness is gone because I have the understanding, but I have this responsibility now that I believe is lighter, and it's by choice, conscious choice, not driven by my unconscious patterning, to teach people this stuff now, because the world is suffering and it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. And I want to get this out there I want to shout it from the rooftops. It isn't even my words. My forefathers knew this, my teachers, my mentors.
Right.
And it's just not getting out there because people think it's too woo-woo. And I've been telling everybody, we are a human being, a human body, but we're emotional and spiritual human beings that reside in this body. And that part is not being taught.
People
In
are ready
medical
for you. People are ready for you, Janet.
I don't know if they are.
They
I'm
are.
very matter of fact, and people don't like that always.
There is a percentage of people that are ready for you.
Oh, percentage I agree with. The majority
Yeah, I'm not, and not everybody, no, because we're all here learning we're all in different places. Nobody has the same level of consciousness, but there is a small select group that are ready for you. It's not huge, but there's enough of us that are ready for you.
Thank you. It helps me. Yeah, I don't even know if I'm ready for myself. I've spent my whole life with one foot on the brake and one foot on the gas pedal, trying to move forward and feeling this strong energetic pull backwards, and had no clue till recently what it was. But now the brake has come off and I can't keep up with myself, and I'm upsetting a lot of people because I'm not fulfilling obligations on their terms, and I'm not doing anything on anybody else's terms anymore, nor that
Good.
I have. But it's like I've gotten in trouble my entire life for speaking, and I've got something called unbridled self-expression, and yet no words at the same time. It's always both and for me. And here I am trying to speak publicly to get this message out there. And I don't feel like I know what I'm doing half the time, but I'm doing it. That's how I know I've changed. Yeah, I've done so much in the last couple of years, even though I've had a very successful life, I think, like yourself. I just keep going because most human beings are supposed to live to 150 or 120 years.
Wow.
But we don't treat our bodies very well, and we lose those years. But we can change the trajectory of that by doing this internal work, the internal neurobiology, and healing from the inside out. And when you can do that, it does change the health of your life. It changes your longevity. Everything is just so much better when you do it. I don't know how else to explain it. The feeling I have in my body is completely different than it was before. And it's sad that I was living in a dysregulated system my entire life and only recently regulated it. And it doesn't feel normal because it's only new. That's why I feel like I'm only a year old now. Learning words, learning how to do life on my terms for the first time in my life.
How exciting.
It's
So,
exciting. Yes, it
so
is.
Janet, I have another obligation. So
I know you do. We've gone over time now. I loved it. And I wanted to just ask you one question before you leave. What would you like to leave as your impact on the world, your legacy? What would be the most impactful message you could leave with our
choose,
audience?
choose to be happy. Choose to be happy. This world has so many miracles and so many gifts, and they're all around us. If you choose to be happy, you'll see them, you'll embrace them, you'll live them, and you'll be in the moment, and you'll make others happy. It's like it goes back. We are all, whatever we put out into the world, we put out, it's a boomerang. Whatever we put out, positive, we're in a field. Send it out, it comes back. Negative, you send it out, it comes back. Choose to be happy and positive. Whatever you send out is going to come back. It's that simple. This is the law of life. The law of life is exact. And it may not come back with the people that you are connecting with, but energetically, whatever you put out comes back. It may come back from another person, another event, another time in your life. But whatever you put out, everything, whatever you put out comes back. It's pretty
You're
simple.
right.
It's pretty
It's all a
simple.
choice. We can change in an instant. We can change our beliefs in an instant.
Right.
We can choose to get up and have a positive mindset or a
Choose.
negative one.
Choose. Choose. People say to me, why do you make all these introductions? I'm saying it's the right thing to do. I'm not doing it because I want the intros back. I'm doing it because I'm sending out positive energy on the planet. I don't know anybody that's making 50 to 100 intros per day. I don't know anybody that's doing that. I think I'm the
I
only
don't do that
person.
many. I do a lot, but not that many. Yeah,
I
because that's
mean,
exactly what I want to
and
do as well.
but everyone does what they're capable of doing. We don't have to do what anyone else is doing. We just have to be our best with what we have.
And stay in your own lane.
Right. Stay in your own lane.
Well, thanks, Jojo. I could talk to you forever. I absolutely love
Yeah,
you.
you said to me, what do you want to talk? It's like, it's, we will never run out of words. We
I
could
just
talk
gotta
for
find
12
them.
hours. We wouldn't run out of words. It's like the stories are endless. Endless.
Well, I wish you a great day and week ahead. I know you're off to something. It was a pleasure having you as a guest, and I look forward to the next time connecting with you one way or another.
Thank you,
And
Janet.
I appreciate you big time. Thank you.
Janet, I appreciate you too. You're amazing. And I hope everyone in the world gets a chance to experience you on some level because you are quite a special lady. Thank you.
You are my mirror. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
So, thanks for joining the Anomaly Factor, and know that you're not swimming in the wrong direction, that you're right where you're meant to be, and connect with that unique anomaly within you. Everything's on the other side. Thank you.
Thank you.